Hello, fellow backers. This is Sir Six with a quick guide on ship components. Here is what you need to know. This feature stands out because you can change your ship components and it will alter your ship's performance, giving you even more control over your ship. These components are described by their grades, being A through D, and have their own classes that they are categorized in. Let's look at the grading system first. Now, your grades tell you how well your components perform and if they offer some additional form of modularity. For example, grade A components give the best performance overall, and usually have an additional sub-item slot. I'll discuss sub-items in a bit. Grade B components give a good upgrade to performance, and may have an additional sub-item slot. This is not guaranteed. They are still good, but overall not as good as an A, so hopefully they'll be slightly cheaper. Next, you have grade C components. These are the standard items for most ships by default, designed for average performance. And last, you have grade D components. These are the lowest grade, generally making up the NPC and AI populace. Good for emergency use to get through troubles. So people who use the Vulcan and want standard components in their ship for roadside assistance can use grade D components as a cheap option to assist players with. Now next, we have our component classifications. First, we have military. They are the best overall at their items' functionality, at the expense of higher emissions and a higher price point. Next is civilians. These are the most common, wide range of behaviors to suit cost, and options to approximate all other categories, but not as specific. So to me, this seems like a cheaper option that is the jack of all trades, master of none class of components. Next up, we have stealth components. These have vastly reduced signatures and composition at the expense of item functionality. So you're trading performance for covert operations. Then we have industrial components. These are the reliably high output, low wear ratings, but have higher emissions. So if you want a durability setup, then industrial components may be the way to go. And lastly, we have competition. These are higher performing than military, but at the expense of durability and stealth. Overall, they are just designed for performance over everything. Think of this as NASCAR. After a certain amount of laps, your tires bald and you need to replace them. So, you can expect having to be extremely careful with these components. Your signature will be higher, and you can burn the components out much faster once Degradation version 2 is introduced. Just remember, in a future patch they plan to assign every ship and every component an item class. This means players will only be able to put an item of that class into a ship that can utilize it. As of now, no ship is restricted to a single class of item, with each having at least 2 classes and virtually all of them featuring civilian as an option. While this system is still in development, the idea at the core is to prevent players from making certain ships too powerful within respective areas. CIG still wants them to be enormous amounts of customization available, but this system they're still developing would do things like limit the chances of finding a military spec 85X or a stealth herald, simply due to people buying the best items of that type. However, you will be able to further alter your ship components with subcomponents or sub-items. These items live inside components and provide a boost to the base effectiveness in a variety of ways, but also wear out quicker than the equipment it's attached to. Let's take a look at this image. Subcomponents have 3 categories, each boosting a different set of stats for that item. First, we have efficiency, which improves the overall effectiveness of the main item by reducing power or improving cooling performance. Next is protection, which reduces the damage being dealt to the main item by absorbing different types or reducing wear rate and misfire chances. And lastly, we have detection, which inhibits emissions in various spectrum from the main item or provides resistance to scanning. And just like regular components, subcomponents seem to have grades too. Looking at the chart, you can see the different setups you can make. For example, if you decide to use a grade A military component, you can use a subcomponent to lower your emissions. Another example, if you want a full endurance build on an industrial component setup, you can tailor subcomponents as such for ships and further decrease the wear rate, or decrease your emissions. And also, these would be the first line of defense. Your sub-items will break down faster than the components attached to. I'd rather lose these before losing a grade A or grade B component, so I'll make sure to stock up on these once they're in the verse. If the video was helpful, feel free to like it and share with others to get this information out. As usual, I thank you for stopping on by, but till next time, fellow citizens, I will see you on the flip side.